You like the video and sub to the channel. Okay, Peanut back in there, bit. What it do? What it do, Peanut? I gotta play that John over. That's that party next door. Control. What it do? What it do? Yup, yup. Y'all come on in. Y'all come on in. Yeah. Miss Silver said, hey, y'all. Oh, it was good. It was good, Peanut. It was a good party. Yeah, everybody coming in. Y'all like the video. Sub to what you say? Alive. Look like they college. Yes. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Shout out Mr. Pilates. Mr. Pilates. He said, you look like a college medical student. I appreciate that. I'm a businessman. So it's normal. That's me, baby. That's me, baby. That's me, baby. That's me, baby. After that, we should get into me, baby. I'm talking something this. I know about you, how long you gonna stay in this kitchen. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yes, sir. Y'all come on in, like the video, sub to the channel. We finna get started in a minute, man. We'll let a couple more people come in, and then we gonna get started. What it do, TBE 101 Savo. Yeah. My boy TBE 101 Savage is in this motherfucker. He said, block, let's get it lit. Let's get it lit. Speaking forgiveness. Turn up. You gotta write that business plan down, mama. Hey, hey, hey. Slide. I want you. Yeah, y'all. Come on. Finna get it started. All them people. Alright, Lala, you in this junk yet? This it. Song, then we gone. Yeah, y'all. This is Blockstar MS Analytics. What are we? We are Blockstar Analysts. What are we gonna do? We're gonna analyze the fuck out of some shit. Thank you, chat. I love you, chat, for being here with me today. Um, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait on anybody else. I'm just gonna allow them to come up into the chat. Cause we got a lot of shit to talk about. As far as Nolan Wells, we also have to talk about former Judge Moore. When I did the Carmelo Anthony case, well, when I started the Carmelo Anthony case, because it's still open, Judge Moore had something to say on it. And I said that he was a judge. I saw that he was a retired judge. And I thought that he was from Atlanta, Georgia. but Atlanta, Georgia is where he lives. Judge Moore, the black judge, and we got a segment from him. Um, he's actually from Mississippi. Yeah, he's from where my family is from. He's from Grenada, Mississippi, and Clarksdale, Mississippi, Clarksdale County, Mississippi, whichever one you want to say. And he was basically fired as a judge in the state of Mississippi because they felt like he wasn't locking up enough black people. That's all I'm gonna go into about him. I'll let him explain when we get to him a little bit later on. But yeah, I didn't know that. He took an interview with the Hype YouTube podcast, and they really got into depths on why he lost his job as a sitting judge in Mississippi. And he also spoke on Nolan Wells' case, but I didn't hear that because the Hype channel, that part of the interview is for members only, and I'm not a member. What else? The Congressional Black Caucus. I gotta keep saying it. Dr. Macbeth, black woman, second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, spoke up in Atlanta, Georgia for Nolan Wells and his mom, dad, and his two little brothers, and spoke up for justice and transparency, and called on the director of the FBI in Washington, D.C., the Attorney General in Washington, D.C., the AG, and the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., the DOJ. She called on the DOJ, the AG, and the FBI director, Mr. Kash Patel, to take Nolan Wells' case. She gave him a week to respond. And like I said, they set everything up. Oh, we got a nice little troll in the building. What it do time? It said, and take that weak ass nose piercing out. Ain't that for girls? I think if it was for girls, bitch, Tupac wouldn't have had one in his nose. Miller time. You little bitch, you. No, it's girls. Stupid ass. It's a style. Some people can pull it out, some people can't. You obviously can't. Oh. And look at Logan. He racist as fuck. You be a good boy, bitch. Dando Mora. Look, Dando Mora said, bro, sing Many Men, please. Because that's what these niggas is. Logan and Miller. Many men. Many, 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 many men. Doom, doom, doom. Death upon me, Lord. I don't cry no more. Don't look to the sky no more. Have mercy on many men. Logan, bitch, as is a many men. Doom, doom, doom. Yeah. That's for Moore. Yeah. For sure, bro. For sure. Dando Moore said, thanks, bro. Perfect. Yeah. For sure. Logan said, you ain't the thinker. Take your hand off your chin. I don't put my hand on my chin when I think. Logan, I think all the time. I don't have to put my hand on my chin just to think. Silly rabbit. Tricks off with kids. Because you playing a lot of them right now. You playing a lot of them right now. Alright. So, like I was saying, yeah, the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Macbeth, it's with an A instead of an E, so that's why I keep repeating myself when I say Macbeth, because it's more like Bath instead of Beth, so Macbeth. Yeah, Congresswoman Macbeth. She spoke up for the family. And this is what she had to say, y'all.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to Reverend Al Sharpton, and also thank you to Attorney Crump for being the armor bearers for this family, the Nolan's family. It's a really sad occasion that we're here again. I was just saying to my staff on the way in, it's like this brings back so many vivid memories for me and my own family, having lost Jordan to unnecessary gun violence in November 2012, Black Friday, simply because he was black and playing loud music in his car. And so here we are again today, here for the loss of another black young man in our community. And we find ourselves asking the same questions. How did it happen? Why did it happen? And this family stands here demanding answers. This family deserves answers. I myself sought the same justice for my son Jordan that they're seeking for theirs, and they deserve answers. And they deserve justice. Justice that should not be denied this family, or should ever be denied to any of our children or our lost loved ones. As a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, I'm the second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. We are demanding a full federal investigation. Kash Patel, we're demanding a full federal investigation as to what has actually happened to Nolan Wells. We want to make sure that every stone is unturned because his life matters. All of our children's and our families' lives matter.
Yeah.
And we must fight back. We must stand up. Yeah. And we must demand accountability for this family's loss. We cannot turn a blind eye to what continues to happen again and again and again. That's the reason why I ran for Congress, to make sure that we continue to put a face on what's happening to our families and our communities every single day. We must say Nolan's name. Say his name. Lift his name. And as the national black journalists of this country, you have the ability to be able to lift this story and not let it die.
What you said.
We see over and over again.
And that's what I said. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying let I'm gonna let everybody else, let all the other YouTubers, let the other podcasters, let the other streamers follow other stories. I said, but I'm not gonna deter away from the Nolan Wells story until his family receive justice. Keep his name alive and keep the story alive. As long as one person report on it, other people will continue to report on it. When they open up their YouTube and they see that people are still talking about Nolan Wells, more than anything, they're like, okay, let me see about Nolan Wells. Let me find out what's going on with Nolan Wells' case. Yeah, so that's what she basically saying. She calling on Cash Patel. She calling on the AG. And she calling on the DOJ of the United States of America, of these United States of America, for a full federal investigation on the Nolan Wells case. It took the district attorney, it took the sheriff's department, it took everybody too long to tell us what happened to Nolan. Like, and why? Why did it take them this long to give us any kind of answer of what happened to him? Like, why? Can they tell us why it took them so long? Why it's taking them so long? No, they can't tell us. All they can say is it's a process and we're working the process and we just want everyone to continue to have patience and support these families. Don't talk bad about these families. These boys, they grown ass men. These boys, we don't think that there's been any foul play. We believe that they're telling the truth. So no matter what comes out about these boys, what shows that these boys are guilty, you're going to have Dick Riding Tatum to push the narrative. Like black people agree with that shit. Black people don't agree with that shit. Black people agree with what the family going through. Black people agree with the grief, the turmoil, the bloodshed. That's what black people agree with. Yeah. Even the successful black people. Yeah, we're successful, but we know what our people's history is. You know, some black people are, some black people that made it rich and they turned into Django's. Yeah. Dick Riding Tatum, he rich. He rich as fuck. Hey, Lala, I hate to see him rich. He don't love his people. And he used his money to push straight narrative against his people to become richer. What does it do? It don't do nothing. What does it do for the black race because he's rich? It does nothing. Because he stands for nothing. Anton Daniels. He pushed that narrative too against his people. See, this the thing about Dick Riding Tatum, Anton Daniels. It's a couple of more. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to name some niggas that's real big. Like I said, YouTube gave Officer Dick Riding Tatum over 500,000 new subscribers in a month for talking against Nolan Wells and his mom and his dad. The first time I saw Dick riding Officer Tatum Page during Carmelo Anthony shit, he was at about 3.1 million followers. Since he started doing the Nolan Wells case, going out there with them white boys, he's at 3.8 million followers. He done damn near jumped up a whole million followers for selling his soul. Now this the thing. They put you on, right? So you all for him, Dick riding Tatum. They put you on, so you all for him. I'm talking about the bad white people now. Yeah, they put you on, so you all for them, right? So when they get sick and tired of your ass and they ready to take you off, guess what? They gonna be able to do it. You know why? Because you got none of your people riding with you. And when they get ready to take you off, they people is not gonna ride with you. Yeah, and you'll never be able to turn around and ask nobody but your family, your wife and your kids, to help pull you out of that hole. But they won't be able to do it. Yeah, y'all like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Anton Daniels, you the same way. When these white folk get ready to take everything from you, I'm sitting there watching you on these different YouTube shows. I'm watching you debate against a young preacher guy, like the young black guy. He was a minister. He's married. And I'm sitting there watching you talk down on him and his wife. They black, successful. But because they for the people and they understand the struggle and they got a different way of loving each other, you want to talk down on them and try to embarrass them on the show. Boy, you ain't nothing but a Django. Yeah, these niggas Djangos nowadays. They'll sell their soul for anything. Yeah, what you said, Peanut? Yeah, Peanut said she tried watching them. You talking about Dick riding Officer Tatum, or you talking about Anton Daniels? And then everything he posts, he nothing but good shit about white people. He posts nothing but good shit about white people, even when they in a bad situation. Like, how are you telling me that they good and they in this bad of a situation? If you a good person, you don't even land in those type of situations where your friend end up dead. He's sitting here taking up. These niggas take up for the officers that put they knee on George Floyd's fucking neck. How can you do that? How can you take up for a white police officer that put his whole motherfucking kneecap on that man's neck and press down? Hear the man saying he can't breathe, but he don't give no fuck. His own people ain't even riding with him. Yeah, the officer that killed George Floyd, his own people ain't even riding with him. But y'all black ass, y'all Django ass niggas, Anton Daniels, motherfucking Dick riding Officer Tatum, y'all riding with him. It's niggas like y'all the reason why, goddamn it, even the most powerful black families can't get no justice. Can't get no fucking justice. Yeah, you niggas just like Diddy. All the motherfucking white women, white men, black men, all the motherfuckers he raped and fucked, they can't get no justice because he got niggas like you behind him. All y'all got power and money, all y'all niggas the same. Beat your people up and fuck them and throw them to the wayside. Anton Daniels, Brandon Tatum, Sean Diddy Combs, y'all the same, nigga. It's a trial going on right now for Tupac Killer. Yeah, that nigga, OG Crip, they probably done beat him off the set or trying to beat him off the set now. This nigga OG Crip, this nigga killed Tupac. This nigga made testimony and statement that he killed Tupac. Diddy was supposed to pay him $1 million to kill Tupac. He wanted Tupac and Biggie dead. He said it was a lot of money to be made behind this. Your own people, nigga. Two of the strongest black young men and influencers in America at the time. Notorious B.I.G., Tupac Shakur. You didn't even want them to be friends. You don't even want your own people to be friends with each other. That's how much of a Django you niggas is. Yeah, Diddy hated the relationship that Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. had together. And that man, when he got out there in L.A., when Diddy got out there in L.A., he went to them Crips, OG Keith them, he went to them Crips and said, hey, pay y'all niggas $1 million to whack Tupac and nigga $1 million to whack Biggie. I need them both dead. It's a lot of money to be made behind this. This nigga testified this. Yeah, now he done got in jail. Them Crips told him, nigga, the only way you don't die is you recant your statement, nigga. Yeah, nigga, Diddy just called us, nigga. See, because Diddy never paid him the whole $1 million. So you know when he started going to court, this nigga go to trial for it. The OG nigga, OG Crippin' nigga, he go to trial for this shit. And what happened? When he go to trial, Diddy see this shit and they tell him about this shit in jail. Diddy get to watch everything on TV, including the news. They not even supposed to let you watch the news in jail, because that's how niggas get hurt. Nigga get found guilty in a trial for murdering a little girl or beating a woman to death or hurting an older woman. When niggas, prisoners who got life sentences see that shit in jail, they pissed. In jail, they respect women. So a nigga better not come in there talking about, man, yeah, man, I beat the bitch. Come in there talking like that. Yeah, they gonna beat you and turn you into a bitch. See, these niggas got their life taken away from them, so all they know is respect now. So niggas that's outside of jail like us, that's free, and we fuck up our freedom and get that freedom taken away from us, and it had anything to do with a little girl, a grown woman, or an older woman, senior citizen, any kind of female. Nigga, if it was a female dog, an actual female pit, you can kill that motherfucker. Like Mike Vick, yeah, they want to beat you in jail when you get in there. They want to beat you both ways. Like Nancy Grace ass said, Diddy got a booty beat. Yeah. Them folks said Diddy was in that whole, started a confrontation, got himself put in the hole. You know what I'm saying? 23 and 1. A nigga tried to get off on Diddy. Him and Diddy got into a fight. Yeah, they said they pulled Diddy off the nigga. Diddy like, yeah, you know how Diddy was when he was on TV. Then yeah, bitch, like he cursing and everything. They like he had something to prove. You know what I'm saying? The nigga said something about him. He found out about it. He just confronted the nigga and got off on the nigga real quick. Blah, blah. They just, they throwing them hoes. But Diddy ain't had no bruises or no marks. And Nancy Grace was like, y'all know Diddy got into an altercation and he came out of it with no bruises or marks. So you know what that mean. They saying Diddy got a beat and he ain't got no bruises or marks. She said, Diddy got a booty beat. I said, man, Nancy Grace, you crazy as hell. Saying this shit about Diddy. But yeah, that nigga wanted, yeah, Anton. Okay. That's who y'all was talking about. Yeah. Yeah, disgusting sick joke by design from the top. Yeah, it's a joke. Justice is a joke. It's a lie. It's all of that. Because the judicial system, they will say who gets justice and who don't get justice, and it don't favor every race. In America, it really only favors the white race. That's where the term white supremacy come from. A lot of people get it confused. Yeah. It's white supremacy. The supremacy of it is dominance. You dominate everything. You're in a country where you dominate everything. Black person can come up with an invention, come out with an invention, bring that invention out, and it barely even move. You can steal that invention if you white. You can bring it out, and that motherfucker shoot up to the sky. The media gonna eat it up. Who controls the media? Most of the people that own these big media networks are white. Most of the people in our government are white. Most of the people that own these big ass $1 million and $1 billion corporations here in America are white. That's why when I get my channel monetized and I start getting money, making these millions and shit, and I get up to millions of subscribers and start making millions and shit, I'm for sure starting a corporation. Yeah, I'm gonna have distribution houses, warehouses everywhere. We got too many niggas. The white man, he'll let the nigga become rich. Not the black man, but the nigga. The reason why is because the nigga will become rich and go right back broke. The nigga become rich and he gonna buy everything. I don't mind a nigga being rich and buying an airplane. Because the airplane is gonna get you to places to make you a lot of money. Chris Brown bought an airplane and he flies self around the world to tour. Now, he make 100% of everything. He's independent. He got distribution deals, but he not signed to nobody. Drake the same way. But that's something that's gonna make you some money. But when you go buying 50 cars, look at Rick Ross. He down there finna go bankrupt. You go buying 50 cars, 50 chains. Fuck you buying 50 chains for. You a slave for sure. 50 fucking chains around your neck. Fuck you got 50 fucking chains around your neck for. Niggas got chains stacked up on their neck this tall. What the fuck for? So you mean to tell me you just became a millionaire? Lil Durk, a motherfucker signed you for 40 million. Interscope signed Lil Durk for 40 million 2024. And all you can do is buy guns, dope, chains, cars, and pay for murders. Nigga, fuck you look like. You look like a nigga. That's why they gave you 40 million, because they knew it'll put you right back in jail and they could take it all. Now the black man like me, I'll get some millions out of them, but it's gonna take me a long time. I'm gonna have to work hard. The harder I work, the faster it'll go for me. But I'm gonna have to work real hard. Yeah, because when they give me the millions, I'm not going to go buy 50 fucking chains. I'm going to go buy 50 fucking warehouses. I'm going to start my own distribution hub. You know how many companies is looking for a new distribution hub? Because Seva Logistics, FedEx, United Parcel Service, United Postal Service, all of these logistic companies, DHL, they booked. They jam-packed with customers. Some of their customers, they fucking up with them, and that motherfucker customer done been through everybody else already. They looking for a new company to try to distribute their shit and distribute it the way they want it. Them folks done signed your ass for 40 million and you went and bought 40 fucking chains instead of 40 warehouses. And it wouldn't even cost you your 40 million. Your 40 million could have sat in the bank, and from that 40 million, you only need 10% of the loan you asking for. 40 million, nigga, that'll get you 400 million in loans. If you take 400 million in loans and you got 40 million sitting in the bank, and you go buy 40 fucking warehouses and start you a logistics hub, and then shake the hands with the right people, take 500,000 and give these 5 people 100,000 a piece to get you the biggest fucking contracts to distribute, you up and running just like that. Go take of that 40 million, go take 5 million, put in another bank, and get that bank to give you to buy you $50 million worth motherfucking 18-wheeler trucks. And then show them the schematics from your other bank account where you got fucking 35 million, and this bank just mortgage you a loan for 400 million to go buy 40 fucking warehouses that you've already acquired. You got these 5 people, you done paid them 100,000 a piece to go back, get you the biggest fucking contract. You know what that bank gonna say? When you ask them for that 50 million because you put 5 of the 40 million in they bank, they gonna say, man, you need 100 million worth trucks. Yeah, they gonna say you need 100 million worth trucks. And they gonna go to a damn trucking dealership and tell them every truck that you got that's 350,000 or more, we want them. And we'll give you 200,000 a piece for them, but we'll buy them all out right now. We got 100 million for you. You know what that company gonna say? They didn't get no fuck because their truck $350,000, $500,000. and they only giving them 200,000. They finna sell $100 million worth of trucks right now. That's 5 trucks every million. You just got 500 motherfucking trucks. 18-wheelers with the trailers for $200,000 a piece. Boy, you can't do nothing but rink of success. And when a motherfucker try to take you down, they can't. Because you done already stepped your foot in the corporate world. So now you got not only your black people backing you that you took care of, you got all the corporate companies with mostly white men owning them backing you. You got Amazon backing you because you distribute for them. You hear me? That's the type shit that you got Tesla backing you, Elon Musk, because you distribute their cars for them through your 18-wheeler. Come on, man. But you niggas go buy 50 chains. Talking about, yeah, man, 5 million. I got 5 million right here in jewelry on my neck, man. Yeah, man. If you take that 5 million in jewelry to a motherfucking jeweler right now, you can't get 5 million back for it. You can't even get more than 5 million. So why invest your money in something that's gonna depreciate and devalue over time? You niggas is dumb. No, you niggas is niggas. Fuck wrong with you, man? I'm a black man. Yeah. I tell young niggas, you are a young black man. Instead of saying my nigga, I say my brother. Yeah, but if a motherfucker getting disrespectful, white or black, Chinese, I don't give no fuck what he is a nigga to me. Because a nigga is a personality. The word nigga is a personality. It's an action. It's the way you move. Yeah. In the hood, we learn how to be niggas. When we move up in life, we learn how to be gentlemen. If we mature while we're moving up. But yeah, they get the money to the niggas. Because when you a nigga, black people don't like you. They can't vibe with you. Because the way you act, your personality, it turn people off. It make people not want to be around you. So if they picking a nigga to get a money to, when they give it to the nigga, it's gonna turn the nigga up even more and make us turn away from him even more. That way they have full control of this nigga, just like a slave. And they say, yeah, go. The labels give you chains now, nigga. Yo, Gotti them give you chains. They Django's. They not slave masters, they Django's. Yeah, the owner of the label, the owner of Atlantic Records. Not the one that we see. No, the nigga that we see that they say is the CEO of Atlantic Records, L.A. Reid, Usher dad. That nigga is not really the owner. No, it's a white man that owns it, and he sits back. And then he puts somebody in the chair of ownership. This nigga is a chairman, L.A. Reid. He don't own Atlantic Records. No. It's a white guy. And he probably the only black person on the board as the CEO. And it's a group of white people sitting around him. And at any time, they can take a meeting and vote his ass out of that seat and put somebody else there. But he'll receive a commission for taking on the ownership seat and being the face of the company. Yeah, man, come on, man. Yeah, these niggas give y'all chain. Put the chain around your neck like they just bought you from a slave auction. They bring your ass in the house and say, oh, yeah, you one of my best. You one of my best. One of your best what? Why you never tell me what? You a slave and don't even know it. Mississippi been racist. And anybody that's living in Mississippi that say it ain't, you a bald-faced lie. Like I said, Grenada and Clarksdale, that's where my folks from. JudgeMoore, when I first heard him speak on Carmelo Anthony case from Atlanta, Georgia, I thought he was from Atlanta, Georgia, but this man from Mississippi. Where they said he couldn't practice being a judge anymore in life. He banned from the bench for life because he wasn't locking up enough black people. He was actually giving them alternative programs and shit, community service shit, counseling shit that they could go through and not have to take the time, which is keeping the jails from filling up in Grenada and Clarksdale. Yeah, he said the government for Grenada and Clarksdale, like the mayors them, they mess with him tough. They would have wanted him to stay. But the ethics board in the Supreme Court found that the shit that they was claiming he did, he was in the wrong for making, which was making some statements. He was in the wrong for making them statements, and he should be banned from this judge, from the bench as a judge for the rest of his life. On some racist shit. So now he's sitting back and he got a podcast on YouTube, and he go over cases as a retired judge. And even though he resigned, they still took his law license and told him that he'll never be able to sit on a bench ever again in his life as a judge.
A lot of people know that I moved.
Here you go, JudgeMoore, right here. I'm gonna let y'all hear it from the horse's mouth. What it do, just dot. We talking about Nolan Wells. Right now we're talking about JudgeMoore. He's a judge from Mississippi, a black judge who got struck from the bench and got his law license taken for giving black people alternative options instead of jail time. Yep, he was fucking up the church's money. Well, they church's money, so they struck him from the bench for the rest of his life. But I'm gonna let y'all tell it. What it do, legendary stuff. Shout out to legendary stuff. One of my young folk said, what it do, Southern Breeze. She said, I know that's right. Yeah, fuck with me tough. Fuck with me tough. Your mama got a 3rd grade education. Proud Southern patriot, bitch. You mad because I'm talking about Tatum and Anton? They sent you over here, bitch. Stop playing with me before you get slapped up. I bet you won't come see about me, ho. Yeah, your mama know. Actually, yep, I used to beat them guts before I was married. Bitch.
A lot of people know that I moved to Atlanta in 23, bought my place in October 23, got married to a young lady here in January of 24, and have been here full time since. But in 25, even after I had resigned from my positions as a judge in Clarksdale and Grenada to move here after falling in love with the young lady, I was permanently banned from the bench by the Mississippi Supreme Court. And that was even after I resigned. I was investigated for comments that I made while I was president of the National Bar Association, I believe in the 21-22 bar year. And as a sitting president and as a sitting judge, I stated after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict that if people still thought that we had a colorblind justice system, they refused to accept the ugly truth. Because I still to this day believe that if the roles had been reversed, Kyle Rittenhouse had been black and killed some white individuals, he would not have walked free. And that's just my belief, and I'm entitled to it. And I will believe that until the day I die, with all of my years of experience, nearly a quarter of a century of experience into the legal system and the judicial system now. I still feel that it's not a colorblind. Lady Justice is not blind. She sees quite clearly color. And so I made that comment on one or more of my social media pages, and the Judicial Commission investigated me for it. And they banned me for that comment, as well as the comment I made on the Kelly Clarkson show when I went there. Kelly Clarkson called me a rad human and thought it was so good that I was doing alternative sentencing. But the Supreme Court said some statements that I made on that show was offensive or improper, and that I deserve to be banned for life.
At that point, it sounds like you were targeting just the fact that people make comments on. I wonder, like, who was watching that, when you put that up there, or did it circulate enough? And then someone like tipped off the other people, and then you're on the Kelly Clarkson. Why are you watching me on Kelly Clarkson's show if you're not really liking me? So I'm just wondering, like, that seemed like a kind of a witch hunt to.
And actually, the way that happened, they really, the initial discipline was because of the Kyle Rittenhouse. Someone complained, I guess a citizen or some person off the internet complained about my comment about Kyle Rittenhouse, and they started investigating me for that. And as part of my defense, I voluntarily showed them what I had said on the Kelly Clarkson show, and they turned around and used that against me as another reason to punish me. And I know of no one that has ever been banned for life from being a judge. There's been judges that have done some egregious things. Right. I mean, DUIs. There's been some judges that left the bench right there in open court and fought litigants and were not banned. They may have received a 90-day suspension, but they were not banned for life. So we do believe that the sentence was extraordinary, to say the least.
Were there any black judges after? I mean, were there any other black judges? Were they already existing during this time, or were you kind of like the only one?
There are other black judges across Mississippi.
Well, I think in your county, or what you were presiding over.
In Grenada, in the municipal courts of Grenada, I was the only black judge. And then there was one other black judge that was appointed on the same day I was appointed. They remained in Clarksdale.
When you look back at all the work that you were doing, did you feel like a sense of betrayal from your own ecosystem?
I didn't feel betrayed by the systems that appointed me. Both Clarksdale and Grenada would have a love for me to stay on the bench. And they never asked me to resign or anything. In fact, I was reappointed. I served 4 years and I was reappointed for another 4-year term in Clarksdale. And so I didn't feel betrayed by them, but I did believe that I was targeted potentially by the Supreme Court. This decision was not a unanimous decision. It was split along racial lines, it seemed. The only black person on the bench on the Supreme Court said I had done nothing wrong. He gave a long, resounding dissent and said I had done nothing wrong. I exercised my constitutional right, First Amendment right to free speech. But the others thought that I had done wrong and deserved to be banned for life. So you have to wonder, was there any other reason besides race that they came up with two different opinions?
Well, one perspective is if you're a black man, you're going to have empathy for black, I don't want to say people that break the law, and you're giving these alternatives where they're not being thrown in jail. Because is it true that some of these prisons are privately owned, like institutions where they can make money off these?
Some of the prisons in Mississippi are privately owned. Most of the jails are county owned. So I had authority to put people in the county jail for up to a year.
Yeah. So I assume that locking people up is good business, is big business.
Some of the localities, they make money off of the fines and some of the things.
So if you're in there, you know, I don't want to say you was disrupting that, but I just would say, like, if you're minimizing that or a part of that, I would imagine they would shut that down because the money's about to get messed with.
Yeah, some of the county jails, even though they were owned by the county, they could have been managed by private companies, and so it could have been getting into their pocket. I never thought about it from that vein, but that's.
Listen, every time I go to the court, that's all they want. That's how it's always payment. Pay your fine, like traffic violations, always been like payment. So I've always looked at it from a level of, it was a way to it's a business, make some money.
Want to watch the full interview? Well, it's available now to all.
Yep. So there, right there, there was that was my guy. That was JudgeMoore. And as you can see, he explained, he's from Grenada, Mississippi. Clarksdale. Supreme Court basically struck him from the bench for some shit he said in 2 different cases. Because he spoke up, basically. Yeah, so him speaking up, especially on the white man's case. Mississippi didn't like that. State of Mississippi Supreme Court, like, fuck that. Now, you can't never practice law again. You can't be a judge ever again in your life. And they took his badge from him. They took that badge from him. Yep. So he moved. After that, he moved straight to started a new life. But that's how they take down the powerful ones of us. Yeah. Take some shit right from up under us. But we bounce back because our people fuck with us tough. So we always bounce back.
Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power, authority, or position for personal gain or to benefit a particular group unfairly. It can occur in what? Governments and other institutions. Common forms include giving unfair advantages to friends or associates, or maybe like judges who you're cool with. In short, corruption means using power dishonestly or unethically for personal benefit or to benefit your friends' kids. The district attorney of Mississippi has finally exposed herself. But have no fear, because Christine, aka Mama Nolan, is not backing down. Do we finally have proof of corruption and cover-up in Mississippi? Not like we needed proof because we already knew already, but is this the evidence that we have all been waiting for to prove it? In this video, I am going to present my case for corruption and cover-up in Mississippi, and you will be the jury and let me know if I am wrong or right. There has been a major development in the Nolan Xavier Wells case. Back, relax, I'll tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section below.
Yep. No further ado. Trent out loud. Yeah, he finna show how the DA is friends with Ashley Cole, Mama Judge. So, yeah, Ashley Cole, we don't really call her Mama Judge no more. We just call her Ashley Cole. We don't even respect her enough to even put Judge on the front of her name. We just call her Ashley Cole, that worked as a judge. Yeah. If we put Judge on her name, that's how we do it. Man, who y'all talking about? Ashley Cole, the one that worked as a judge? Yeah, so how her and the DA, these folk friends and shit. These folk friends. I mean, we should have known, Ashley Cole, that you was friends with the DA. Cause y'all work in the same building. Oh my goodness. It's just more bullshit and more bullshit every time we open our eyes. Y'all like the video. Subscribe to the channel for those of you just coming in to become a part of the family. Yeah. We all chat analysts here. We was at 881 when we started. We trying to get to 900. Yesterday I wanted to get to 900. Motherfucker streamed for 4 hours. I think I only had like 168 fucking views. And it's never been that low. That's how I know YouTube trying to make us stop talking about Nolan. YouTube don't want to hear about Nolan no more. They try and make us stop talking about it, but I'm not going to stop talking about it. Fuck y'all. YouTube, if you want me to stop talking about Nolan, fuck ya. Because I know y'all process all these lives, so I know y'all be hearing my shit. It's somebody going through my live and listening to every word, scanning through. That's why I take y'all 12 hours. Because I be going for some long-ass periods of time. But, yeah, I don't care. Take me out of the algorithm, bitch. I'll get back in it. But right now, I got a point to prove. I got a family to stick with. Nolan's family, I got to be there for him. If don't nobody else be there for him. See, God gonna give me my blessing for that later on. YouTube, that's something you can't stop. Fuck you, man. Those of you coming in, man, y'all like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I'm in with YouTube because they won't hurry up and monetize me. And they know I should have already been monetized. They drove me down from getting 50 subscribers and 55 subscribers all the way down to getting 1, 2, and 3 subscribers. So guess what? I'm gonna switch the narrative. Every time somebody come in the chat, I'm gonna tell them to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Alright, and I'm gonna do this more frequently, doing this post, and I'm gonna make the numbers that I want to see. I'm gonna make the numbers. I might throw a chair like P. Diddy just to get some folks to subscribe. Like, you want to see me throw this chair like P. Diddy? Subscribe to the channel, and I throw the chair right then. I won't even wait for them to subscribe. I won't even wait for them to subscribe. Those of you coming in the video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, for sure. But let's get back into my brother, Trent Out Loud. I really just wanted to stop it to introduce him because I played him right off the back. Yeah, this is my brother, Trent Out Loud. And when we listening to his channel, we transform from chat analysts to outlouders. Then when we finish listening to his story, we change back from outlouders to chat analysts. So, yo, we analysts here, but they outlouders over there. Same thing, just different words.
The District Attorney of Mississippi sent a correspondence August the 12th to Nolan Wells' estate and Nolan Wells' family. And while that correspondence has not been made public, the reply to said correspondence to me implies corruption and a cover-up. I have retained the August 13th letter in response to the August 12th correspondence from the DA. And in this reply to the DA, I feel, it is in my opinion, that Nolan Wells' estate is alluding to a cover-up and an injustice done by the Mississippi DA. Before I break that down to you, I would like to take a second to revisit a press conference held on July the 15th, where Benjamin Crump lets us, the public, know of an agreement made between Nolan Wells' estate, family, and legal team. Then we will move on to an August 11th letter, then the August 12th correspondence, and then we will come back to this August the 13th letter. I am going to start off by presenting my case with a video from July the 15th, where Benjamin Crump and Nolan Wells' parents just came out of a meeting with the Mississippi DA. And here is what Benjamin Crump said. Pay very close attention to two key sentences. We also agreed, AKA they had an agreement in place, and also at the same time.
We also agreed that we will have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hertz is helping lead the investigation team with former law enforcement experts who are going to help us with the cell phone download. So everybody will be able to see at the same time.
Now I will draw your attention to a letter from Nolan Wells' estate lawyer and representative acting on behalf of Nolan Wells and his parents and family. Now, I have shown you this letter before, so I'm not going to it in its entirety, but I am going to highlight one paragraph, and then I'll explain to you why they had to send this letter August the 11th. This letter was to the District Attorney of Mississippi. As the legal team has stated previously, including during our in-person meeting, which I just showed you a video from July the 15th, we have been and remained ready and willing to cooperate in arranging a joint forensic inspection of Nolan Wells' personal cell phone.
Right.
During that meeting, July the 15th, we specifically discussed having the examination conducted through a digital forensic lab in Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, as well as the possibility of FBI involvement in that process. Our position has not changed. You guys could pause and read the rest if you would like. Now, let me give you some context. The agreement was made July the 15th. Nolan's parents and legal team have been waiting for a date after said agreement, meaning they're waiting on the DA. Now, what has happened between July the 15th and August the 11th? Well, the same thing that's been happening for the past couple of weeks. Former Officer Tatum, the Morgan, Jax, and Warren, the three white boys that were on the boat, and their lawyers have been talking to the media, drumming up distractions, and also Warren's father, because now he's threatening to sue for defamation. So we've been having a lot of distractions. During these very, very overtly distracting interviews, podcasts, and media blitz, the latest one has been, hey, where's Nolan Wells' phone? And Christine hasn't handed it over to the DA. Of course, this has been led by former Officer Tatum, where he is trying to say that Christine is trying to interfere with the investigation. This is why this letter is so important. Nolan Wells' estate and parents and representatives had to come out and make it very clear through legal documents. Notice they're not playing the games of going back on media, going on Nancy Grace and doing all this stuff. No. They're about facts and receipts. So they sent this letter right here to say, hey, they actually highlighted the attacks. Let me get that here for you. To the extent there has been any suggestion that we have not been willing or have failed to cooperate with the investigation, we want to make it very clear that that is not the case. All right, so that was in response to former Officer Tatum, the white boy's lawyer. We call him here on this channel Little Tyler and Little Eddie. All right, you guys could check back on this page here to if you're not familiar with what's going on. So this letter now was sent to the DA August the 11th. Now let's move on to another letter that was sent out by the same law firm representing Nolan and his parents, August the 13th. Now, please be clear, this is a separate letter than what I just showed you. You'll see the date at the top, August the 13th, and of course the writing, very different. And I'll read this to you pretty much in its entirety. Stick with me here, because you're gonna see and hear the corruption and cover-up, okay? So it starts off, this is a letter to the DA, once again. Thank you for your correspondence dated August the 12th, 2026. As counsel for Nolan Wells, we have received it, etc. Now, let me just stop right there. Now, that means that the DA answered that first letter that I just showed you a minute or two ago, dated the 11th, saying, hey, we had an agreement. What's going on? We agreed to jointly look at Nolan's cell phone together. We're just waiting on a date and possibly having the FBI involvement. So the DA answered. The letter continues and says, we agree that examination of Nolan Wells' cell phone was discussed during the July the 15th meeting. So we agree on that, okay? And that our team undertook to follow up concerning that process. During that discussion, however, we agreed to a jointly coordinated forensic examination of the phone that would include the use of the digital forensic lab at Mississippi Golf Course Community College, as well as possibility of the FBI involvement. Subsequent correspondence with your office reflected our continued willingness to process through a mutual agreeable procedure. Additionally, Mr. Hurst contacted you on July the 25th while traveling abroad and indicated that he would reconnect upon his return. Accordingly, our prior correspondence with your office should not be understood to suggest that our legal team had been unwilling to facilitate a forensic examination of the phone. That's very clear to say, hey, once again, we are not unwilling. We contacted you. We followed up with you here on July the 25th. Now, let's read between the lines on that July 25th. What would be fair to assume is that maybe somebody in the DA office contacted back with a proposed date. Mr. Hertz replied back, he's saying, hey, I'm abroad and we want to continue this conversation. They want to let them know that, hey, just because we're abroad and just because we weren't running to you does not mean that we are not willing. It just means that I was abroad and we are still very willing. Again, we do not know what the DA wrote back to them August the 12th, but we can assume that there was something that happened around July 25th, but they're making it very clear that does not mean that we are unwilling. To date, Nolan's parents remain willing to facilitate an appropriate forensic examination of Nolan's phone, including FBI involvement, according to our agreement on July the 15th. However, your letter sent to Eric Hurt on August the 12th at 12:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time set a deadline for the Wansleys to deliver the phone to your office by August the 14th, 9 a.m. This is not practical for a number of reasons. Again, referring back to that August the 12th, I cannot wait until that letter is exposed because I want to know the details. But here we see them saying, hey, there was something going on July the 25th, and now you're sending us a letter saying, yo, we have 48 hours? 48 hours to bring in the phone. But here is where we get the confirmation, or in my opinion, confirmation that there is some misconduct and there's some cover-up and there's some corruption going on. First, the date and time you proposed provided less than 48 hours notice. Moreover, the Wansleys were outside Mississippi when your letter was sent and are not scheduled to return until after the deadline you unilaterally imposed. You hear that? See that? Imposed? Now, let's take a second. This is the government. They know the movements and what is going on. I feel, in my opinion, that they're doing this purposely. They know they're out of town. They know they're traveling. And that is why they're giving them the 48-hour deadline. Second, the party never agreed to simply deliver the phone to your office. Instead, the agreement was that we would set a mutual agreeable date and time for the phone to be examined together by your office's forensic professionals, our forensic professionals, and the possibility of the FBI as well. Now, let's pause on that for a second. This letter that's sent August the 12th is saying you have 48 hours, and she is going back on her agreement. She is no longer saying, hey, you have 48 hours. Yeah, we're going to jointly do it. No, we have 48 hours to hand it over. We are no longer jointly doing it. That's where the corruption lies. But it gets worse. Thirdly, the parties have not yet agreed upon a forensic protocol addressing at a minimum the scope and the method of the examination, chain of custody, preservation of the forensic extraction, access to resulting forensic data, treatment of information outside the agreed scope, retention of the extraction, and the return of the device, Nolan's phone. Please send us your proposed protocol as soon as possible. As soon as the protocol is agreed upon, we will be able to schedule the forensic examination of the phone immediately. And by the way, I have another paragraph that's talking about Nolan Wells' autopsy, but just let me cook for 1 second here, okay? This is a clear indication, in my opinion, of corruption and a cover-up. Why are you agreeing July the 15th to jointly look at Nolan's phone? Then you guys continue on with your investigation. What did you find during that investigation? What changed from July the 15th to, yeah, we'll do it together, to like, yo, you send me the phone right now. And now you do not want to go over the chain of custody. You don't want to go over protocol. You don't want to do nothing. If Christine, 48 hours while she's out of town. We all know she's out of town. We're all following her on her socials. We're all seeing the press conference. We all see that. And this is just us, civilians. Y'all know exactly what's going on. Y'all are tracking their every movement. And that is when you want to send a letter 48 hours. What do you know that we don't know? What does the judge, what do those lawyers know? What's on Nolan's phone that you do not want us to see? And it's you not wanting us to see it because if you do it without Christine there, you can hold it private. I think they're not only just keeping it from Christine, they're keeping it from us because the DA and Mississippi and everybody involved knows that this fight is no longer just with Christine and the family and Benjamin Crump. They know that they're battling the world. They're battling social media. They're battling me and you. They're not afraid of Christine. They're not afraid of even Benjamin Crump. Why do you think every single time Christine, Elmore, or Benjamin get in front of a microphone, they start out by saying, thank you to the content creators. Thank you to the YouTubers. Thank you to the TikTokers. Thank you for keeping Nolan Wells' name in the media. Christine and Elmore know that this fight is us against them. And the DA knows that if we, the public, dare find out what's on Nolan's phone, this case goes from national to international, and the whole entire world, if not already, will have their eyes on Mississippi. And they know that. That's why they sent out that letter August the 12th. And I cannot wait for Benjamin Crump and his team to expose that letter. I love the strategicness of just putting out this letter and letting us know that there's something August the 12th and not putting it out. You're taking a different approach from the other side, because the other side is going on podcasts, Nancy Grace, whatever, and they're talking. Nah, Benjamin Crump is taking it legal, and I love the strategy. What is Mississippi hiding, covering up in Nolan Wells' phone? Now, another brilliant move, they refer back to the autopsy, which is what I think, and I'm sure what you think, more corruption and more cover-up. Let's go to that. Regarding Dr. Roger Mitchell, our independent doctor doing the independent second autopsy, we appreciate that you will be making available Nolan's body parts that were not previously sent to Dr. Roger Mitchell. As reflected in your July the 29th correspondence, another correspondence that we're not privy to, by the way, your office previously stated that Dr. Roger Mitchell would have an opportunity to examine Nolan's complete body in advance of any grand jury testimony. Once again, they are going back on their word. Benjamin Crump and his team, Nolan's estate lawyers, have a letter or correspondence July the 29th saying your office previously stated that Dr. Mitchell would have an opportunity to examine Nolan's complete body in advance of any grand jury testimony. Why do they want to not do that anymore? Because they want to keep it sealed. You see the corruption? You see the cover-up?
Yeah.
Before, okay, we'll do his phone jointly. Okay, we'll let you look at the body. Now, nope, that's done. Nope. We want his phone and we want his body to ourselves. Could you imagine? Put yourself in the situation of Christine right now. Imagine the state that you live in, the state that you pay taxes in. Christine and Elmore's taxes go to be paying the DA, her salary, the people who work for her, their salary. And this is what they get back in return. This is disgusting. At this time, Dr. Roger Mitchell requests that you provide 3 additional dates in which he can examine the body parts that he has not been able to assess. We are prepared to move that process forward promptly through counsel. And I love that they're doing it through counsel, because no, we're not going to trust you sending text messages and stuff. No. Do this through counsel, not through Nancy Grace, not through former Officer Tatum. No, we want this on record.
Right.
Thank you for following up with us regarding the threats and the intimidation against Nolan's family. That was a paragraph that I didn't want to read before, because I don't actually even believe that they're following up. I feel like the lawyers are just trying to be nice. The family and legal team remained committed to a careful and complete investigation of the circumstances surrounding Nolan's passing. We believe the most productive path forward is focused, documented cooperation on matters that will materially advance the investigation while preserving the integrity of the evidence and the legal rights and obligation of everybody involved. Basically, AKA, yo, stop talking to Nancy Grace and former Officer Tatum. We want to bring this back to legal procedures. But nah, they don't want to bring this back to normal procedures. They don't want to bring this back to legitimacy. They don't want to bring this back.
No, Brandy. Bio Teach. It's a brandy, bro. You want some whiskey?
Their agreement they had July the 15th. Why? Because I believe that the cover-up and the corruption is right in front of your faces. This was my case that I presented to you. Here it is in black and white. You guys are the jury in this video, like I promised in the beginning. Y'all sound off. Y'all let me know. Am I crazy? And this is what I love. This is not videos. This is not, no. This is documentation. We had an agreement. July the 15th. We're going to both look at Nolan's cell phone, and we're going to both look at Nolan's body together. You're going to give us access. That's changed. That's proof of the cover-up right there. That's proof of the corruption right there. Remember the definition I gave you guys in the beginning. Y'all sound off the out loud jury, out louders. Y'all let me know. When you are commenting, please do me a couple of things, all right? One.
Yeah. So there we have it from I mean, I was finna get ready to talk, but then I'm reading what Shakira Bounty done wrote. I'm like, Shakira, how you gay for Diddy? Aren't you a female with the name Shakira Bounty? Tell the truth now. Shame the devil. You can't be gay. But I'm going to let you have that one, Shakira. Shout out to Shakira Bounty for participating in the chat. Those of you just coming in, those of you who already been in, if you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and like the video for me. If you're not subbed to the channel, go ahead and sub to the channel. In our 4-5 hours that we streaming, we want to at least get us 19 new subscribers. That'll put us at 900. That'll put us at 900. That's what we try and make it to. Those of you just coming in, man, y'all like the video for me, sub to the channel. With no further ado, here goes Dr. U.
Dr. Umar, happy to have you back, man. What you been up to, yo? It's been a while, yo, since I had you on the platform.
Yes, just taking care of business, fighting for the school, you know, doing what I do, helping the parents with their children, raising the consciousness. The work never stops. The work never stops.
Yes, indeed, man. Had to bring you back on. The people, they've been asking me to bring you back on for the longest, man. So it was only right to bring you back on. It's so much I want to talk to you about, though, man. It's so much to get into that I want to get your take on. Nolan Wells, how you feel about that situation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nolan Wells. You know, when the case first broke, Art, I just kind of sat back because I knew the YouTubian struggle streamers were going to run with it. I knew the white liberals on YouTube were going to run with it. I knew the white racists on YouTube were going to run with it. And everybody in between.
That nigga said YouTubian struggle streamers. Why that man talk about us like that? So if you stream on YouTube, you're a struggle streamer. If you stream on YouTube, you're a struggling streamer. I'm done with him. Dr. Umar, I'm done with you.
It hurts my heart for Sister Christine, Nolan's mother, to have to see so many people using her son's name and crisis and tragedy for clickbait. And that's one of the biggest reasons, Art, I kind of stood back. It almost reminded me of the Freddie Gray police unaliving in Baltimore back during the Barack Obama era. When Freddie Gray lost his life to those police in Baltimore, everybody rushed to Baltimore. They did the same thing with Michael Brown in Ferguson, not because they necessarily cared about the tragedy, but because they wanted to benefit personally from it. And so I stayed away from Ferguson, I stayed away from Baltimore, and I stayed away from the Nolan Wells situation for a while because I didn't want to look like so many other people who just jumped in
to have something to say, to use that young man's loss of life for clickbait and views. Now that it's been over a month since he lost his life, I think it's okay for me to speak now, because everyone else has kind of given their opinion, their analysis, their synopsis, and their feeling on the situation. So I'm going to give mine. First of all, Nolan Wells, Javon, and I want Javon to hear this, and I want any other black person who was on Devil Horns Island that day to hear this. And I want any black person who was celebrating the 4th of July to hear this. No black person, no black freedman, no black immigrant, no member of the black race at all should have been celebrating July 4th, 2026. No one should have been celebrating America's 250th solar return. And why? Because our ancestors were still enslaved on July 4th, 1776. So why are we on White Devil Horns Island anyway, celebrating George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton and all these other white supremacists and slave masters? Why are we even celebrating them anyway? Nolan shouldn't have been out there. Javon shouldn't have been out there. No black person should have been celebrating the 4th of July, period. We would be enslaved for almost another century after America got her independence. So what are we celebrating for? To celebrate the 4th of July as an African is to celebrate the enslavement of your ancestors and the freedom of your slave masters. It makes no sense. Now, with that being said, I'm not blaming Nolan in any way, shape, form, or fashion for his loss of life. I'm just simply saying he shouldn't have been out there. Now let's take a closer look at this, Art. According to what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, and what I've read, Nolan, Warren, Wyatt, and Trayston left for Horn Island the morning of July 4th. According to Warren's own words that he offered during an interview with Officer B.T. Coon, that's Coon as in C-U-N-E, Coon as in K-H-E-W-N, Coon as in K-U-H-N, Coon as in C-O-N-N. So Warren did a sit down with Officer B.T. And as we all know, B.T. is White YouTube's pet monkey. He's White YouTube's pet monkey. So Warren sat down for an interview with White YouTube's pet monkey. And he said that they left for Horns Island the morning of July the 4th, and that it was approximately 30 of them spread across 3 boats. Approximately 30 youth spread across 3 boats. They all went to Horn Island together. They arrived at approximately 11:30. So they left around 9-ish, 8, 9-ish, whatever the case may be. They left the morning of July 4th. They arrived on White Devil's Horn Island at about 11:30. So 3 boats, 30 youth, they went together. I'm not clear on whether the 3 boats.
They actually had been there. They actually made it there at 10:30, not 11:30. Some of what he's speaking is truth, but some of it is false. And that's only because he haven't even heard about Nolan until he got ready to do this interview. But that's another story for another day. Let's get back into it.
Came back together or not? That's another question that I have, Art. Did they come back together the same way they left together? Because I'm treating all 30 of those white youth and all 3 of those ships as crime scenes and as suspects. All 3 ships are potential crime scenes. All 3 boats are potential crime scenes, and all 30 youth are potential suspects. I don't know why Jackson County Sheriff Ledbetter or Jackson County District Attorney Mulrath, I don't know why they decided to separate the boat that Nolan was on, Warren's boat. I don't know why they separated that boat from the other two for purposes of investigation and analysis, because those three boats operated as a team. And since they went out there as a team, and it hasn't been made clear to me whether or not they came back together as a team, all 30 white youth and all three boats investigation, not just the one boat. That is my first big issue with this case. Who decided to separate the other two boats and the other 20 or so youth? I got a problem with that, Art, because according to the Cajun Navy, they have no GPS information on the other two boats, Art. They have no GPS information on the other two boats. Now let's get into this. According to Warren and Nolan's other so-called white friends, they decided to leave the island around 4:30. So they were roughly on White Devil's Horn Island from 11:30 to 4:30. That is about 5 hours. Now, one question that has to be asked, Art, why did y'all leave so soon? Because they party on Horn Island all day long. Y'all didn't leave at sunset. Y'all didn't leave at sundown. Y'all left after only being there 5 hours. That's a little suspicious, Art. And I haven't heard anybody ask any of them, why did y'all decide to leave after only being there for 5 hours? Did y'all plan to only be on White Devil's Horn Island for 5 hours? Why did y'all leave at that time? But we'll deal with that later. So then let's listen to Javon, Nolan's other best friend. Now, another problem I got with this whole story, Art, is Nolan allegedly had too many best friends. I'm trying to find out, how does Nolan have so many best friends?
Hey man, I'm done with this nigga. This nigga said, and another thing, Art, another thing I'm trying to find out is this shit funny to me. Dr. Umar ain't crazy. That man said, and another thing, Art, and this is allegedly, but another thing I'm trying to figure out. Nolan apparently had too many best friends. And this is allegedly, but he had too many best friends, Art. I am done with that man. Dr. Umar crazy.
And why did all of these so-called best friend on White Devil's Horn Island without his cell phone and keys? I'm trying to figure this out. So Javon claims he's Nolan's best friend. Warren claims he's Nolan's best friend. And Trayston allegedly claims that he's Warren's best friend. So did Warren have three best friends? Excuse me. Did Nolan have three best friends? Did Nolan have 13 best friends?
Hey, I be doing the same thing. Those of you who just coming in, man, y'all like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We need the subscriptions. We trying to get past 900 tonight. Appreciate y'all.
Friends? Did Nolan have 30 best friends? Because if Javon is the best friend of Nolan, and if Warren is the best friend of Nolan, and if Trayston is the best friend of Nolan, exactly how many best friends did Nolan have? Are y'all making this up? Who did Nolan tell Warren was his best friend? Who did Nolan ever tell Trayston was his best friend? I'm not going to question Javon, because he's a brother. And I do believe that there's a strong chance that they may have been best friends. And I say that not only because Javon is a brother, Art, but I also felt that Javon, through the investigation team and alley-oop, with some of the answers that he gave on TMZ. Some of Javon's answers, in my opinion, kind of made it clear to me he actually cared about Nolan. He actually cared about Nolan. I believe Javon actually cared about Nolan. And because of that, I'm willing to say that Javon may have actually been Nolan's best friend. I wish somebody would have asked Javon, Art, to your knowledge, has Nolan ever called Warren his best friend? Has Nolan ever called Tristan his best friend? To your knowledge, Javon, has Nolan ever told you that Warren and Tristan were best friends of his? Because, Art, I'm having a problem with this three best friend narrative.
And I bet he never told him that. That's a good question to ask. That's something that a DA would ask, district attorney would ask. Javon, to your knowledge, has your best friend Nolan ever called Warren your best friend? Warren his best friend? Has he ever called Tristan his best friend? Like, has he ever told you that? Like, man, Warren, the white boy out of all the white boys that I fuck with the most is Warren. That's my best friend out of them, bro. Has he ever told you? Because if he never told you, we don't believe them. And I'm sure he never told him. I'm sure he never told him. Yeah, but that's a good question to ask.
Okay? I used to be 18 years old. You might have one best friend. You may have two. Don't get me wrong. If you all hang in a pack, you could have three best friends. But according to Javon's own words, Art, he didn't really hang around with them other guys too much. That's what I allegedly thought I heard him say. He didn't hang around with them guys too much. So if you got 2 or 3 or 4 best friends, you guys normally travel as a group. Javon seemed like he kind of spent most of his time with Nolan alone, just the two of them, not with Tristan.
I said that shit yesterday. I said that yesterday.
And Warren, although he knew them, it didn't appear that he hung out with them on the regular. So how could they all then be best friends? It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's unlikely. So, according to Javon, Art, he saw Nolan at 340 on the island. According to Javon, what I heard him say to TMZ allegedly was that he had another friend who was involved in an altercation and that he left Nolan at about 340 to go check on his buddy, because according to Javon, his buddy was on another ship and the parents of whomever on this other ship were trying to get him off the island because he was crashing out. He never said who this friend was. He never exactly told us what happened, but he said, I left at 340 to go check on my friend on another boat because, quote unquote, well, these are not his words, I'm paraphrasing, he was kind of wilding out, crashing out, and he needed to help calm him down. I'm paraphrasing. He said when he got back, Nolan was nowhere to be found, and I'm paraphrasing, and Nolan's boat that he came on, Warren's boat, the so-called Big Daddy, the 22-foot Triton, had already left the scene. So according to Javon, I left Nolan at 340 to go deal with another situation. I came back, he was gone. According to Katie, the white girl who Nolan's white best friends are trying to use as an alibi in this situation. Okay, because they claim, and Warren said the same thing to Officer B.T. Coon when he spoke with him. They claim that Nolan told them, I'm going to hang back on this island and talk to Katie You guys go ahead and I'll get back however I get back. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But guess what? We learned through Katie's sister that Katie said she has no knowledge of Nolan ever saying that. In fact, Katie said, Art, that Nolan told her, I got to get ready to head back to the boat because my friends are leaving soon. That don't sound like somebody who plans on staying, Art. Okay? According to her sister, Katie said Nolan told Katie, it's time for me to head back to the boat because my friends are going to be leaving soon. As far as I'm concerned, Art, Javon and Katie both threw us an alley-oop. Javon and Katie are throwing Sheriff Ledbetter of Jackson County an alley-oop because neither one of them are corroborating the story of Nolan's white friends on that boat. In fact, Javon said, this ain't adding up. Javon said, it's not like Nolan to say, you guys go ahead and leave me on this island and I'm just going to stay back to talk to this girl who I barely know. According to Javon, it don't make no sense. Javon ain't stupid, Art. That's his friend. He know damn well Nolan didn't tell them that he was going to stay back on that ship. And then Katie, I'm going to give a little bit of respect to Katie on this situation. Because as a white girl, Art, for her to come out and say that is not what happened, for her to come out and say that Nolan told me I got to get back to the boat because my friends are leaving, for her to say that, Art, that took a little bit of courage and honesty. That took a little bit of integrity. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to give her too much credit because she is trying to clear her name.
Those of you who coming in, man, y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. We definitely trying to hit 900 subscribers tonight. We at 881. Yeah, help us get there. Be a part of the family. Subscribe to the channel and like the video. Everybody that's coming in. Yep, it's an amazing interview for sure. He using all these damn slave terms though. He called boats ships. Really, Umar? Boy, you gonna get these for life the way you talk about the story.
What Katie is basically doing, Art, is she's saying, listen, y'all did whatever y'all did to Nolan.
For real.
But you're not going to add me to the narrative. I'm not serving as nobody's alibi. I'm not helping nobody get out of this situation. You're not going to use me as a decoy, but I still appreciate Katie speaking up for Nolan, Art, because she didn't have to do it. Although she's trying to protect herself and stay out of the investigation, I appreciate Katie for letting the world know Nolan told me I got to head back to the boat because my friends are getting ready to leave. Yeah. Now, according to Katie, Art, she spoke to Nolan sometime between 3 and 4:30. Now, her window appears to be wider than everybody else's window. So Javon's window is much smaller. He said, I saw him at 3:40, went to deal with another situation. By the time I came back, they were gone. Katie said I spoke with him between 3 and 4:30. And I allege, Art, one of the reasons that Katie is making her window so wide is she trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, allegedly.
Right.
I think Katie trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, Art. Now, according to our sister Christine, and my heart goes out to Sister Christine, Nolan's mother.
Yeah.
My heart deeply goes out to you, Queen. According to Christine, Art, she heard from a coach who ran into Nolan on the island as well. And according to the coach, he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30. So Javon didn't see him after 3:40. The coach spoke to him sometime between 2:30 and 3:30. And Katie said her conversation with Nolan was between 3 and 4:30. So you know what that means, Art? We can pretty much digest, conclude that Nolan was likely to have been unalived, Art, sometime within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. I'm going to insinuate that Nolan's life was taken because I do not believe he accidentally drowned. If he drowned, he was forcibly drowned, and we'll get to that in a minute. If Nolan drowned, he was forcibly drowned. He did not accidentally drown. He was a great swimmer. Miss me with the nonsense. That boy did not drown. If he drowned, it was by force. So again, Art, all three of these people, arguably the last three to see him alive, except for those who took his life, Katie, the coach, and Javon, are arguably the last three people to see Nolan alive, except for those who took his life on that boat, allegedly. That's my position. So they're all basically cutting off around 3:30, Art. Remember, they made the call for the emergency CTO at 4 o'clock. Javon said he cut out 3:40. The coach, 3:30. They made the call at 4 o'clock. That conversation we heard, the CTO call, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that took place at 4. It sounded like there was some struggling going on in the background. Nolan could have been getting unalived while they were making the call, Art. Nolan could have been getting unalived while they were making the call. Nolan could have been getting choked out while they was on the phone with Cito. So again, Art, my position is Nolan lost his life somewhere within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. Now, before we go any further, Art, I need Ben Crump investigation team and Sheriff Ledbetter's investigation team to have a conversation with Javon, because according to Javon's statements on TMZ, the police never spoke to him. And I have serious concerns with the manner in which this investigation has been carried out so far, Art. I have very serious concerns with the manner in which this investigation has been carried out so far. So anyway, Javon said police never spoke with him. Why? We need a conversation with Javon, not because I think he's a suspect. I believe Javon is innocent, but we need to find out what he knows. That's number one. We also need a conversation with the coach. Who is this coach that Sister Christine said contacted her and told her he had a conversation with Nolan on the island between 2:30 and 3:30? We need to find out what he knows. And according to Katie's sister, she is already cooperating with the authorities. But here's why those three got to be spoken to, Art. Not only so we find out what they know, Art, but did they see each other during their conversation with Nolan? Because Javon, if you was talking to Nolan and left him at 3:40, and if Katie was talking to Nolan sometime between 3 and 4:30, and if the coach was talking to Nolan between 3:30 and 4:30, Art, at least two of you should have ran into each other. Did the coach see Javon? Did Javon see the coach? Did the coach see Katie? Did Katie see the coach? Did Katie see Javon? Did the coach see Katie? Art, if all three of them are saying they saw Nolan for the last time, roughly within the same hour, hour and a half, Art, did y'all run into each other? Let me tell you why I'm asking this question, Art. And I'm not throwing no shade at my brother Javon. I like Javon. I'm not throwing no shade at Miss Katie McCormick. I don't know her. I'm not throwing no shade at the coach, Art. But the reason I need to know why all y'all put y'all time within the same frame and you may have not possibly seen one another, Art, are you guys keeping yourself out of the window of witnessing this crime by saying you didn't see him after 3:30? I want you to follow what I'm saying here, Art. It's kind of interesting that they all saw him last at 3:30, not after 3:30. Javon 3:40, roughly 3:30. My point is, for all three of them to have the same exact time, if they did not see each other at all during these conversations with Nolan, are they pushing up the window of time during which they saw Nolan so they cannot be included in this investigation as a witness to a crime? In other words, Art, I don't think Javon had nothing to do with it. I know he didn't. But is he saying he saw Nolan a little earlier than he saw him so he can't be pulled into the investigation? I don't think Katie had nothing to do with the crime. But is Katie putting her conversation with Nolan a little earlier than it actually took place to make sure she can't be dragged into the investigation as a witness to a crime? Is it possible that the coach is putting his conversation with Nolan earlier than what it was, Art, to make sure he cannot get dragged into the investigation? I don't think they had anything to do with it, but they could have been a witness to a homicide, Art. They could have been witness to a homicide. If they did not see each other, if none of those three people, the coach, Javon, and Katie, if they did not see each other at all talking to Nolan, if none of them saw each other talking to Nolan, at least two of them are lying about the time they last saw Nolan. Are you following me, Art? All I'm saying is I have my suspicions as to whether or not this convenient 3:30 cutoff window, I have my suspicions that this convenient 3:30 cutoff window may have not actually been the time they saw Nolan. They may have saw Nolan closer to the time he lost his life. Now stay with me, Art. I want to back up for a minute. And I want to say this to Brother Elmore, Nolan's stepfather. And I want to say this to Coach Tracy, who I believe was one of Nolan's coaches. Brother Elmore, the stepfather, and Coach Tracy, the coach, both said on national television, Art, that they don't think race played a role in this at all. Elmore, Tracy, two dark-skinned black men in Mississippi, and both of them said on national television, I don't think race had anything to do with this case. I am disappointed in Brother Elmore. I am disappointed in Coach Tracy. How dare you help these young people avoid the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. federal hate crimes law, Art, by you saying you don't think this had anything to do with race, Brother Elmore and Coach Tracy. You are helping these white folks avoid federal hate crimes charges. And let me tell you why this is important, Art. Let me tell you why this is important. Under the federal hate crimes law, Matthew Shepard, James Byrd, signed by Barack Obama, 2009. Under the Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, you can go to jail for life. You can go to jail for life under the Federal Hate Crimes law. So if you can go to jail for life under the Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, why is Nolan's stepfather and coach telling white folks they don't think it had anything to do with race? I still love my brother Elmore. I still love my brother Coach Tracy. But would y'all please watch what comes out of your mouth during this investigation? Because you are undermining justice for Nolan. I hope you're listening, Brother Elmore. And I hope you're listening, Coach Tracy. You are undermining justice for Nolan by saying you don't think race had anything to do with it. How in the hell do you know? How do you know if race had anything to do with it? How well do you know these young people? It was 30 of them, Art. It was damn near 30 white youth spread across 3 boats. How many of them did Elmore know? How many of them did Coach Tracy know? So how are you going to go on TV and say, I don't think it had anything to do with race? Why are you helping them avoid accountability for what they may have done? I don't know if they did it, Art. You don't know if they did it. They don't know if they did it. And they definitely don't know if it was motivated by race. What they should have said, Art, is what Javon said. And that's why I like the young brother Javon. That's why I like that young brother Javon. His mother, Sister Tashima, shout out to you. You raised a good kid. When TMZ asked Javon if he thought it had anything to do with race, Art, when TMZ asked Javon if he thought this had anything to do with race, he said, what? I don't want to answer that question. I don't want to answer that question. Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Or, Art, they could have said, I don't know. Nolan's stepfather could have said, I don't know if it had anything to do with race. Coach Tracy should have said, I don't know if it had anything to do with race. But to say you don't think it had to do with race when he was the only black boy across 3 ships? Are you out of your mind? Why would you say that and help them avoid the Federal Hate Crimes Act? Javon gave a better answer than those 2 black men. Javon, a child, gave a better answer than those 2 black men, Art, when he said, I don't want to answer the question. And shout out to Javon, Art. He's intelligent. You know why? Because by saying, I don't want to answer the question, he answered the question. Of course, race has something to do with it. This is the United States of America. Race has something to do with everything involving black people. The country was built on the backs of black people. It's maintained on black people. We are disproportionately represented in the criminal justice system, overrepresented in the unemployment line, under the poverty line. Of course, everything in this country has to do with race. And I'm disappointed in us, Art, that we are so afraid to call racism what it is, that we literally got people asking us, when a white person takes the life of a black person, do you think it had anything to do with race? When a police officer takes the life or shoots a black person, do you think it had anything to do? What kind of idiotic gaslighting question is this, Art? All white people are racist. All white people are racist. So we can stop asking if it had anything to do with race. If it's black and it's white, it has something to do with race because all white people are racist. That's just how it is. Now let's get back to this. Let's get back to this. Before we deal with the infamous CETO call, Art, I got a few questions for Warren. I want to deal with that infamous CETO call, Art, and I want to deal with Sister Tashima and Sister Christine's visit to Warren's home to get Nolan's cell phone. I want to deal with them 2 in a minute, but before I go there, I got a couple questions for Warren and his white friends. Nolan's best friend, and Warren even called Nolan his brother, Art. He even called him his brother. He said they spent the night together before they went out to White Devil's Horn Island, Art. The night before, July 3rd, they stayed in the same home. How do you stay in the same home with somebody, Art, and leave them on an island? How do you sleep in the same house with somebody July 3rd and then leave them on an island July 4th? But I got a few questions for Warren. No disrespect. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I got a few questions for you, Warren. Since you could sit down and interview with Officer B.T. I need you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. So you can sit down and interview with Officer B.T. I want you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. My first question to Warren, you said that Nolan is a best friend of yours, that he's like a brother. I have a question. If Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on that island, especially when you all were drinking? Because somebody put a report out there, Art, that Nolan had been drinking heavily and was intoxicated. Of course, that allegation was dismissed because the coach who contacted Sister Christine confirmed that he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30, and Nolan was not intoxicated. So they lied to protect their friends. because white people are always on code, Art. Not a single white person on that island dropped a dime yet. Not one of them. So anyway, Art, they tried to blame it on him being drunk. So he was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. That's the narrative they wanted us to swallow. He was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. And remember, Art, Sheriff Ledbetter allegedly ruled the case an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. He ruled Nolan's death an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. But stand with Warren, Art. Warren, if Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on an island without his cell phone and his keys? Why did you take his cell phone and keys back to the mainland? You left him there and took his cell phone and keys back. Can you please explain that to me? What person wants to be on an island without their phone? Help me understand that, Warren. I don't know of an 18-year-old who wants to be anywhere without their phone, Art. They don't want to be at home without their phone. They don't want to be out of town without their phone. They want to be at the mall, the movies, the restaurant. They don't want to be nowhere without their phone, let alone on an island with no way to get off. You left your best friend on an island. You're so you left him on an island with no way to get off, and you took his phone and his keys. Can you explain that to me, Warren? While you're thinking about it, I got another question for you, Warren, while you're thinking about it. You said at 11 o'clock, you called Miss Christine to see if she heard from her son. Warren said, Art, I called Miss Christine to see if she heard from Nolan. She said she had not heard from Nolan. Can I ask you a question, Warren? If you took his phone, how in the hell was his mother supposed to hear from her son when you have the son's phone? Did you tell Miss Christine that you had her son's phone when you called her? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. Think about that, Art. He called the mother and asked her if she heard from her son. But he knows she didn't hear from her son, Art, because he has her son's phone. How can the mother hear from Nolan when you have Nolan's cell phone and you left him on an island? And I bet you didn't tell her you had his phone. Because if she knew you had his phone, Art, she would not have had to use Life 360 to find the phone. If you had his phone and you called her at 11 o'clock to see if Nolan was okay, why didn't you tell Nolan's mom you had his phone? Why did my sister Christine and my sister Tashima have to use Life 360 to find their son's phone? Because you playing games. You playing games. You playing in our face like we stupid. That's what this is. I don't know if he did it, Art, but he damn sure knows who do. I allege and I believe that all 30 of those white kids on all 3 of them boats know exactly which one of them did it, and the rest of them are covering it up. And guess what, Warren? And the rest of you 30 white kids on those 3 boats, let me explain something to you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody didn't tell you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody told you. Guess what? The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, you can go to jail for up to 30 years. And if Nolan was unalived by more than one person, that constitutes a lynching. That constitutes a lynching. So you can go to jail for up to 30 on the Emmett Till Act. You can go to jail for life on the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Hate Crimes Act. And in the state of Mississippi, Art, if you are an accessory after the fact, not accomplice. Accomplice means you participated in the murder. Accessory means you helped cover it up afterwards. If you are an accessory to the fact, after the fact, Art, you can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law. So they can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law, accessory after the fact, you helped to cover up the crime. You can go to jail for 30 years on the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, because more than one of you probably participated in Nolan's unaliving. And under the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Federal Hate Crimes Act, they can go to jail for life. And this is why I need Nolan's step pop and coach to watch what comes out of their mouth and stop trying to help these white kids avoid accountability for what they did to Nolan. Because if the tables will turn, white folks are not going to try to help your child avoid any accountability. So stop the cutting. Now, another question I have for Warren. You said you and Nolan been friends since 8th grade. Since 8th grade, Art. But Sister Christine says she don't know none of them kids really, Art. She don't know them white kids. So help me understand how you are Nolan's best friend, friends since 8th grade. You called him your brother. Y'all spent the night together July the 3rd, the morning before y'all went to White Devil's Horn Island. And his mother don't even know who you are. And you said out your own mouth that y'all never hung out at Nolan's house. So how are y'all best friends? I had best friends growing up, Art. My mother knew who they were. Who has a best friend that they mom don't know about? Help me understand that. A best friend and the mom don't know him? It sounds suspicious. Why didn't you tell Miss Christine you had her son's cell phone when you called and asked if she heard from him? Art, concerned, there's probable cause he has something to do with this. Art, I'm holding her son's cell phone. I left him on the island. I took his keys and phone. And I'm on the phone with the mom. I got his phone. But I'm calling his mother at 11 o'clock. Have you heard from your son? And I'm holding his son's cell phone, and I don't even tell her. Art, this ain't making no sense. This ain't making no sense. And I want to know from Sheriff John Ledbetter, Art, Jackson County Sheriff, you don't have probable cause just off of that alone? Somebody calls somebody's mom asking if she heard from him while they have their phone and left them stranded on the island. And if you care so much about Nolan, Art, if he cares so much about Nolan, the so-called white best friend, Art, why did you wait till 11 o'clock? Y'all left the island 4:30. Y'all left the island 4:30. If you care so much about Nolan, why are you not calling his mother until 11 o'clock? It's pitch black outside at 11 o'clock, Art. It's pitch black. It's almost midnight, and you wait till 11 o'clock to call his mom and ask her if she heard from her son, but he's supposed to be your brother and best friend. Listen here, Warren. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. And then I have a question for his dad, too, Art. I don't know if you know this, but his dad has started an online fundraising platform for Warren and two of his friends. I think they raised $160,000 so far. $160,000. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has received a warrant. Nobody has been indicted. Nobody has been charged. Art, if you are innocent, why are you raising money online? You ain't been charged with a crime at all. The state of Mississippi is doing everything they can to make sure y'all don't get charged with anything. So why are you raising money online? Why did y'all cancel your social media? Why are y'all lawyering up? They hired Donald Trump's lawyer, Art. One of Donald Trump's lawyers is now the three of their lawyers. If you innocent, what you need Donald Trump's lawyer for? If you're innocent, what you raising $160,000 for? It sounds like y'all getting ready to defend yourselves. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like y'all think the truth is going to get out really, really soon, and y'all want to be prepared for it. Again, Art, I'm not saying he did it, but I definitely believe he knows who do. Now, we're going to get to this call. But before we get to this call, Art, I want to ask a question to Benjamin Crump. Attorney Benjamin Crump. I met him twice, Art. I met Benjamin Crump the day before I graduated with my doctorate at an Urban League conference in New Orleans. I presented at a workshop at the Urban League Conference in New Orleans. This is July of 2012. And I flew back to graduate and get my doctorate in clinical psychology. We had lunch. It's a few of us at the table. We had lunch. Okay? This is around the Trayvon era. And then I met Benjamin Crump again at HBCU Delaware State University about 3 or 4 years ago at the Black Farmers Conference that was put on by one of the black professors there. She invited me to keynote the luncheon, and she switched me out at the last minute for Attorney Benjamin Crump. I understand it was a black bourgeoisie event. I'm not a member of the black bourgeoisie. I got switched out. I understand. No harm, no foul. Ben Crump gave a good speech. But here's my question.
Damn, she switched his ass out. Ben Crump is getting these niggas put out of interviews. That's crazy. She switched his ass out because Big Crump called him for and said, yeah, I come to speak for y'all. They said, okay, well, we don't need to pay both of them. Yeah, get rid of the Dr. Umar guy. They wrong for that one.
To Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. Here's my question to Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, Art. How long are y'all going to wait around before y'all call a spade a spade? How long is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton going to wait around, Art, before they tell the world that they don't think this investigation is being done correctly? How?
Those of you who coming in, man, I forgot to say it. Y'all like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not a part of the family. We trying to make it to 900, y'all. What up, Eric?
How long before Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton demand that the FBI and Department of Justice take over this investigation? Art, it's been over a month and we know nothing. It's been over a month and we know nothing. Now, let me say this, Art. There's several circumstances through which you can demand the FBI come in and take over an investigation. One of them, Art, if there is a suspicion of public corruption or obstruction of justice. The FBI, the Department of Justice, can come in and take over a case on the suspicion of public corruption or obstruction of justice.
Now listen, this where we win at with that. He said the FBI can come in on suspicion of public corruption. Suspicion, meaning Congress them don't have to know for a fact that it's corruption. But from things, the way they lining up with him coming out, the sheriffs coming out and saying no foul play and shit like that, that can make them feel like it's probably some corruption going on in their court system. Right? Just from them feeling like that, Congress can tell the FBI, hey, we got some suspicion that it may be corruption. We don't know for sure, but it may be. We need you to go investigate. That's when the FBI can come. So that's why they calling on the true FBI and the director. Send them FBI agents from Washington, D.C. We need the best of the best. Yeah, so we don't have to, it don't have to be no, it don't have to be no corruption, or it don't have to be an actual homicide. We can have suspicion of corruption or actual homicide conspiracy to cover up. And from that, the FBI can be summoned to be on the case. Those of you who just coming in, man, y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to let them finish. What it do, Mike? We got Mike back in this thing. He said, peace, block Starr in chat. What's good, Lala? What's up, Renee? If they care so much, why didn't they get another boat to go back? Get him or find him. It's because they really didn't care. And they knew that they put him in the water. They knew he was dead. So, you know what I'm saying? They really didn't care. My bad, Lala. I didn't try to do that. I didn't try to do that. My screen broke. Yeah. Okay, you driving. Nah, I was saying, I just deleted your damn comment. I didn't try to delete it. I tried to delete the person above you. Okay. You hurry up and get home safe. Do you think they got into Nolan's phone? Yeah, I think they got into Nolan's phone with his fingerprint. Before they dumped him in the water, they used his fingerprint to get into his phone and delete any trace of him being with them that day, because they didn't know how they was going. They didn't know how they was going to fight this situation at first, and they didn't know what the narrative they was going for until they got to the girl parents' house. The girl seems to be the girl that was on the boat that said, "Oh my God." She seems to be Warren's girlfriend or something. I'm still trying to find out who she is. It's probably Warren's girlfriend. It's getting real sticky. So we got to be careful. We might step on some bubble gum. Hate when bubble gum get on the bottom of my shoe and shit. For real. Let's get back into it.
So you're going to say, Dr. Umar, what evidence do you have of that? First of all, they declared this an accidental drowning before they did any investigation. That's a cover-up. Not only that, Art, they never treated the boat like a crime scene. They never took a look at the other two boats. We have no information at all on the other two boats. Those 30 white kids should have had their cell phones confiscated, investigated. All their social media should have been investigated. Their homes should have been investigated. They should have all been interrogated. They should have been investigated to see if they or their parents had any connection to any of the white hate groups in the state of Mississippi. None of that was done. They gave the boat back to the owner, Art. They gave the boat back. The boat may have been a crime scene, and they gave it back. Now, according to the Cajun Navy, another question for Ben Crump, Art. According to the Cajun Navy, they offered Ben Crump to put dogs on the boat and let the dogs sniff it out to see if anybody had recently been deceased on that boat or if there had been any blood on that boat. And according to the representative from the Cajun Navy, Ben Crump told him don't do it. So I need Ben Crump respectfully, I'm not accusing him of nothing, Art, but I need Ben Crump to explain to me why you didn't let them use the dogs to sniff out that boat. Why did you not let them sniff out that boat with them dogs? Did you have your own dogs to sniff out the boat? Because if you didn't, why didn't you let them sniff the boat out with the dogs? The dogs can tell, Art, if somebody had recently lost their life or if blood had been spilled. He said Ben Crump told him no. I need Ben Crump to explain that. I need Sheriff John Ledbetter to explain why the boat wasn't treated as a crime scene, potential crime scene. I need him to explain why all them white kids wasn't arrested and questioned, because if it was black kids and a white kid went missing, Art, they would have all been arrested and questioned. You know that. They would have all been arrested and questioned. And then let's talk about the autopsy, Art. Let's talk about the autopsy. So the Mississippi State Medical Examiner, they do their autopsy July 7th, right? July 7th. And then Nolan's mother requested an independent autopsy, as she should have. They send Nolan's body to Washington, D.C. When the black medical examiner gets the Nolan's corpse, Art, the throat tissue and the lung tissue is gone. How is he supposed to determine if Nolan died from being choked out or if Nolan died from drowning if he don't have the throat tissue or the lung tissue, Art? How is he supposed to do his job and y'all didn't send the throat tissue or the lung tissue? And nobody has explained yet whether or not the medical examiner in D.C. is ever going to get the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And I personally believe, Art, I personally believe Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. I believe Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. And the reason they held on to the throat tissue and the reason they held on to the lung tissue is they didn't want nobody to know that Nolan was murdered before he hit that water. Just like Emmett Till was murdered before he hit that water. Just like Dr. King's brother, A.D. King, was murdered before he hit that water. Remember, Art, when Dr. King's brother was murdered, Reverend A.D. King, they found him in a swimming pool. They ruled it a drowning. And then one of the paramedics said what, Art? One of the paramedics who took Dr. King's brother out the pool, Art, said he didn't have no water in his lungs. The paramedic said he didn't have no water in his lungs, Art. And plus A.D. King, just like Nolan, A.D. King, just like Nolan, was a great swimmer, Art. Was a great swimmer. They kept them lungs, I believe. They kept the lungs, Art, because they knew that those lungs would have provided evidence of the fact that Nolan may have been deceased before he hit that water. They kept the throat because it may have shown some trauma that Nolan may have gotten choked out. And then you got the red substance around the back of the head that the DC medical examiner discussed. We don't know if Nolan got hit in the back of the head. We don't know if the blood simply drained to the back of the head. But here's the thing, Art. They say Nolan was found face down in the water. Right. Nolan was found face down in the water, Art. Not only that, Nolan was transported face down to Washington, D.C. So guess what, Art? I have my doubts as to whether or not the red, which is probably blood in the back of the head, the subcutaneous red area, Art, I don't think that has anything to do with the blood draining to the back. You want to know why? Because he was found floating on his face. And he was sent to Washington, D.C. on his face. So the blood couldn't have went backwards, Art. I believe Nolan got hit in the back of the head, and it was that cost him his life. It was that hit that cost him his life. It was that hit that cost him his life. Now,
and I said that too. Yeah, man, those of you who coming in, man, y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. I said that too. I said if he didn't get pushed and and hit his neck and broke it on the edge of a surface and hit his head where we see the blunt force trauma in the back of his skull. And somebody could have hit him in the head with a pipe, some kind of piping on the boat. Yeah, this shit crazy, man. I'm tired of it. Yeah, 300 more to go for sure. Have you heard about the Damn It Bart shirts? They been sold at Walmart, Amazon, still in the topic of the children of Mississippi going in more t-shirts. Man, that shit crazy. They got Damn It Bart shirts. On a life jacket that says batteries are sold separately in the dark. I agree 100% with the caller. He was behind. We got a whole bunch of different scenarios of what happened. I just want to say that I appreciate everybody for coming down below. Yeah, man. But we got to get somewhere with this. Everybody that's just coming in, y'all like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We got to get to the bottom of this shit. Dr. Umar said a lot. He said a lot. It's a lot of unanswered questions. Katie, she left a wide enough window open for them to get their story straight, change their story back around. They don't look like they doing that though. They got them lawyers with them. Now motherfucker can't get nothing out of them. But that's okay. They're gonna have to say something to defend themselves when the courts air out what they found and start asking the questions of them that we asking of them right now, the questions that they not answering. Okay, you didn't kill Nolan. Did you have anything to do with covering up his death? Yeah, did you go, did his parents really know these kids? We know they knew Javon. Tristan, Warren, Wyatt, Morgan, Eli Jacks, Bart. I don't think his parents really knew these folks. But they knew Javon. Javon was a true friend. Those of you coming in, man, y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, Javon was a true friend. Since Nolan had died, like in the middle of the month of July, like around the 15th, 16th of the month of July, after the second, the second or the third, I believe it was, that his body washed up on the shore. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was like 2 days later, his body washed up on the shore. And then they still act like they didn't know what the fuck was going on. Oh my God, no, I didn't know. Well, then why the first thing Warren say to everybody when he called around asking about Nolan, Have you heard from Nolan? Well, don't worry. I'm gonna call Coast Guard. Why you ain't finna call the regular police? And then your little brother, he real cocky. He sound just like you. Yep. He gonna do that for sure. For sure, for sure. Okay, for sure, Glenda. For sure, Glenda. Do that for sure for us. I don't know what you talking about, cowboy. But yeah, we gotta ask ourselves those questions. We gotta get them answers. Gotta get them answers, man. But listen, this is Blackstar MS Analytics. They know who we are. We are Blackstar Analysts. And what did we just do? We just analyzed the fuck out of some shit. Listen, chat, I love you, chat, and I thank you, chat, for being here today and being with me. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with somebody that you like or you love, and tell them to subscribe to the channel. We need all the subs we can get so we can make it to 1,000 and be monetized, get monetized. Yep. So share for sure, subscribe for sure, like for sure, comment for sure. Listen, man, you've been chilling with yours truly. It's Blackstar MS, all the way from Memphis. Don't you forget me. Hey, chat. I'ma see y'all later on tonight, man. I gotta get some rest because I got a lot of shit I gotta get done. But I love y'all. I love you, la. And I appreciate y'all for being here, y'all. All right. See y'all tonight.